Hey, it's Connie from Prosperity Finance. How are you doing? Now, in this session, I'm going to share with you some common reasons that the lender actually turned down your application. Now, the purpose of this is so that you can try to avoid them and possibly think alternative ways by contacting us, and we can maybe help you to turn around. So firstly, let's take a look. So what are the common reasons? Number one type is about character concerns. So not many people actually have a bankruptcy background. If so, obviously that's bankman concern. But most of us is actually, the default is not significant. I'll give you some example. Maybe you missed a bill payment for your telephone bill or your electricity, etc. when you move out a house. All right. Now they send the bill to the old address and you forgot to update them, and they just assume you don't want to pay. So in the end, they make you default and lodge a claim on Baycorp, etc. And you just find it out in the end. Well, in that situation, as long as the amount you owing is not significant and you paid on time, normally banks are okay, but it's still case by case. Now, what we see more common is actually not about the missed bill payments. It's about account conduct. For example, including myself, sometimes I keep my saving in one account, but keep repayment from another account, including daily expenses. So sometimes I don't have sufficient funds to pay anything. So it could be an unarranged overdraft situation. Now it's normal for us, right? We're all human. We all have a time we forget to transfer sufficient money to your payment accounts. It does happen, all right. But from a lender perspective, they worry about maybe you spend more than what you earn, or maybe you don't have enough money to pay a loan, etc. So that's quite important that you keep unarranged overdrafts at minimum. Sometimes we see people have 30, even 40 unarranged overdraft in the last 3 months. That's just too much. Some bank care so much, only allow a couple of occurrence. Some quite flexible, is so different, so you could get decline just for that reason. So that's about characters. Another aspect about character is that sometimes we don't know we need to disclose a credit card limits. Maybe we never really use it. It's just given to us by the bank, right? But that's also a liability, because you can use it anytime, up to that limit amount. Or maybe you have a revolving facility. Again, you probably not use it, but in bank's view, you have to disclose it. It's a liability. Okay, so that's all about character-related reasons. Now let's move on to income and expenses side. Sometimes your income is wages type, so you have an hourly rate which is fixed, and then your working hours fluctuate. For some professionals, it's really common that you have a fluctuate income. For example, you work as a nurse, right? So you probably work overtime and you work on the weekend, all that. So your income can actually fluctuate. Or your job has a seasonality. A particular season you work much longer hours than a different season. So on your bank statement, it looks like quite unstable. Okay. Also, if you have a bonuses or commission, you probably think, that's part of income. Yes, it is, but in the bank size is different. They might discount or they even disregard. Okay. And also with the self-employed clients, some banks take 3 years average, some take 2 years average, some take the latest year, and they're all different. They may also add back some of the expenses items such as depreciation, home office expenses, your wages, your salary, all that. It's really vary from one lender to the other. Now, in terms of living expenses, a lot of people spend more when they don't have a mortgage or their mortgage size is small. And that's normal, right? But the bank actually check how much you spent per month based on a bank statement transaction, and they assume you will carry on that spending pattern. So just before you about to kind of apply a mortgage, just make sure that you don't spend too much. If it's just a one-off, say a big holiday, that's okay. But for the small one, like dining, at the restaurant and go to a bar and all that kind of thing, just be careful you don't show too much expenses, and they will reduce your borrowing capacity or even decline. Finally, in terms of the income side reasons, it could be your contract type. Say if you are a contractor, or if you are on fixed term, or if you are casual, then your income may not be used, or they need different proof of your income. So just bear in mind. Okay, if you're in doubt, just check with us. Now let's move on to the next type, which is the bank policy and bank appetite. Now, bank policy can change overnight. Okay, so we had clients who want to borrow high LVR loan. So they are buying their first home, they need borrow 90%. Now, while they're preparing the application, we want to send it to this lender, but just before make submission, that lender actually changed the policy, say I no longer accept high LVR. So it's a really dramatic change, and that clients suddenly from a good application and get approval to nowhere to go. Okay, so that's quite it can happen really sudden, and most time when the lender send any change emails, they actually send after 5 p.m. So it gives you no time to squeeze in and apply the old policy in the last minutes. They always do it after working hours. Now, in terms of appetite, so for example, again we use the high LVR as an example. Now, there's only limited capacity for the lender to lend to people who want to borrow over 80% for buying first home, right? The thing is, they have limited resources they can lend. So they're actually cherry picking. They want to find the perfect application. Now, if you have credit issues, if you have unstable income, or if you have a personal loan, etc., they may choose not to work with you. Okay, there's just no black and white reason. They just have no appetite. So it could happen. All right, so that's about bank side. Now, it's nothing to do with you. They could approve your loan before they had the policy changes, but the next day they will change their mind. So it's really, really common. The next type would be your situation change. Now, maybe you change your job while you hold your pre-approval letter, but before you purchase the home, like purchase the property, you probably change your job and they have to reassess you. And if you just started, they may say, come back later once you pass the probation period, etc. So your situation can change, and as a result, it will change your approval outcome. Now, the remaining type, it's just miscellaneous. It could be, for example, you didn't really explain well about your situation, a particular transaction, so the bank actually have a concern. Some lender, they are good, they ask you, give you a second chance to explain. Some don't, they just decline you straight away if you don't explain really well. Or maybe your income, for example, increased suddenly from, say, 40 grand a year to 80 grand a year without proper reason, even though you have an employment contract, you have everything the bank requested. It just make it quite suspicious. So part of what we do, actually, we thoroughly go through your supporting docs, and we know what the bank looking for. And anything that we think they will be in doubt, we'll actually clarify with you before make submission, and we will diarize in our notes, so minimize the chance of getting declined. So that's pretty much cover most of the common reasons that bank decline your application. The moral behind this topic is that just please be careful before you are applying for a loan application. Just make sure you cross the T, dot the I, make sure you don't spend too much, and yeah, just aware what the lender looking for. Okay, so avoid that decline situation. Now, secondly, even you had a decline, or you're not confident that you'll get approval, the best way actually contacting us, because we understand what lender might give you approval. We will give you personalized advice, so it gives you a better chance to get approval. Sometimes about using different lenders, some about timing, sometimes about explain your situation. So it's all different, but with our expertise and experience will help you to get across the line. So thank you for watching. I hope you find it useful, and please feel free to share with your family and friends. And if you really like us, please subscribe our YouTube channel, because every week we have great content to share with you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.